Maria Zakharova threatened Poland with painful consequences over the closure of the Russian consulate in Gdansk. The spokesperson for the Russian Foreign Ministry stated that Poland should consider the consequences in light of this decision. I think there are already many clear and well-documented examples that demonstrate how Russia typically responds in these situations, and just how extremely painful and severe these reactions can be for those individuals or groups who choose to commit injustices or hostile acts against our country. Poland decided to close the Russian consulate in response to 2 acts of sabotage on the railway between Lublin and Warsaw. The Russians were supposed to vacate the building by the end of the day on December 23rd. However, they refused to do so. The Russian side also claims that despite the closure of the consulate, it retains the right to use the building. In response, Russia withdrew its consent for the operation of the Polish Consulate General in Irkutsk. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation also urged Russians to refrain from traveling to Germany unless absolutely necessary. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's migration policy has affected Russians. In the first year of Trump's second presidential term, several special flights were sent to Russia carrying those whom immigration authorities had deported from America. According to international media, immediately after landing in Moscow, men were handed draft notices. Some were taken away for questioning. Applicants in the U.S. began to be denied legal status and were sent to third countries that are not their homeland but have signed the relevant agreement with the U.S. For Russians on this list, deportation to Uganda is being offered. Meanwhile, tourists from the Russian Federation are complaining that the service in Turkey and Egypt has gotten worse. Russians are unhappy with the selection and declining quality of food in the all-inclusive system. The rooms are allegedly outdated and the staff responds to the requests of Russian vacationers rather formally. Tourists from the Russian Federation complain that elite resorts are shifting their focus to travelers from Europe.
In the year 2025, Russia is expected to exceed its official recruitment plan for the army. This statement was made by the head of Ukrainian intelligence, Kirilo Budanov. He also specifically noted that the main source of replenishment for the Russian army today is contract soldiers, who are currently being actively recruited. You can find more details in our report. You are watching the Glavred channel. I'm your host, Yevgeny Serov. If you enjoyed this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Russia is expected to exceed its mobilization plan for the year 2025. The Russians had already recruited a total of 403,000 people by early December. This was stated by the head of the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Kirilo Budanov, in an interview with Suspilne, as he briefly noted during the conversation. According to him, the main source of replenishment for the Russian army is contract soldiers who are enlisted on a voluntary basis. Nevertheless, the head of the GUR noted that Moscow is currently facing ongoing difficulties in the recruitment process, so from time to time they are compelled to increase the amount of one-time payments offered to new recruits. The size of these payments varies depending on the specific region, but these are significant and substantial amounts. That's how they lure people into the army, Budanov explained. The head of the GUR shared that according to intelligence, in 2026 the Russians plan to recruit a total of 409,000 individuals into the army. Putin is preparing a covert mobilization of reservists. The Institute for the Study of War reports that the dictator is likely preparing a secret mobilization. This is how he wants to compensate for the depletion of the volunteer resource for participation in the war against Ukraine. Analysts, meanwhile, are drawing increased attention to President Vladimir Putin's decree, which was issued on December 8th. This official document authorizes the conscription of an unspecified number of military reservists for mandatory service and for participation in military training exercises in the new year, specifically in 2026. The Institute for the Study of War expresses doubt that the head of the Kremlin will actually dare to initiate and carry out a large-scale mobilization. Most likely, he will instead choose to recruit reservists on a permanent basis.